Sorry about the audio quality. We're right next to the speaker.
Right next to the speaker. The mic's blown.
The mic is blown.
Give it up for Mr. John Robinson on guitar, everybody! That was fun. That was fun. Especially for 10:50 in the morning. You guys are getting it out there. I think I'm finally just now getting woken up a little bit. No, it's not bad.
I was falling
My hands are greasy from McDonald's, so stop by there after the show, grab yourself a burger, have some fun. Throw out that plug. Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know if you guys saw our handle up earlier, but we are at The Stray Official on Instagram. We like to give away free stuff from time to time, and sometimes we give away money. Just kidding, we don't do that at all. But, yeah, Brad does. But yeah, so make sure you go in there and follow us, and share any photos that you have with us so we can see how weird we look on stage. We can get pretty weird.
Right on. So we're gonna play a song that we wrote about 6 months ago about a friend of ours who actually makes our t-shirts back there. Our friend Chris has struggled with drug addiction his whole life. And about 3 years ago, he got clean, and he was making our t-shirts. And he gave me a call and said, "Hey man, I can't finish this order of shirts because I need to go to rehab because I relapsed and he started using again." And so obviously I cared about my friend. I didn't really care about the shirts, but his story kind of touched my heart. So yeah, I wrote a song about it. This song's for Chris. And what we want to do with you guys here, if you guys know anyone in your family or in your friend group that struggles with any type of addiction. We want to do this song for them too. So if you guys can get your phones out and shine your lights, your flashlights, this song is out to those people.
I don't have any freaking flash. I can't use the flash. Oh, enable flash. Haha, I did it.
I was running along the tree. Been taken by the wind. Rush through the branches. Left on of my wings. My head is reeling and my heart is a rush. My hair slow more, my life is all.
Oh, that's what it's telling me. When it does the red thing, it's telling me there's a very bad
If you guys could do me a huge favor, we're gonna be back out in a little bit. What? Oh yeah. Well, I'm in puberty right now. I don't know how I got the beard. If you guys could do me a huge favor and give a warm round of applause for Mr. Joel Penton.
He'd mind me recording him?
Hey, the guy's
okay,
gonna be right back out, but just for the sake of like, I can see there's people that literally are like behind there. Let's go sit real quick, just for a few minutes. And if there aren't enough seats, some of you can literally sit on the floor down here in this spot as well.
Okay, I'll just go back to my seat. Oh Lord, I gotta record from all the way back here.
Flashlights out. I was literally about to go to my bag and get out my utility flashlight.
You should have.
Oh crap, I don't think I can see him.
One giant break.
Can it zoom in? Oh Jesus, it can. Okay. Oh crap, he's gonna be down center stage.
No, I literally sat here for like 3 minutes.
Just doing that. I'm live streaming. I had to ask him, I was like, do you think he'd mind me recording him or what? What, Twisted Wing? Yeah. I did. Oh Lord, that's horrifying.
All right, guys.
Please get in the center of the stage so I don't have to do this.
Hey, guys. And thanks for coming and hanging with us for a bit here at IE time. Not getting up? EI?
What?
IE? Like Internet Explorer.
Well, my hands hurt, and you're farther back. Because I was holding it up the whole time they were recording.
Really?
I've been live streaming for the past 15 minutes, holding my phone.
Really, just for a few minutes. I know you guys heard me earlier today. You heard me share a bit of my story. The story I shared in the gym, just like a couple hours ago. If you were listening, you realized it was personal, it was real. I assure you, it was totally true. But the story I shared earlier was kind of incomplete. There's actually another piece of my story that I didn't share at the assembly because, in a way, I wasn't really, I don't know, allowed to share it or supposed to share it. But that's why I'm glad that we have this time that the FCA sponsors. I can really share what's actually the most important part of my story. So again, if I can just get your attention literally for a few minutes, it won't take me long. Because a lot of times after I share what you already heard about when I was in high school,
I have permission, dumbass. I asked the band.
Sometimes people come up to me and they ask me like how I got through it, like how I could have made it through all that rejection, made it through that experience in high school. And guys, honestly, it was tough. But to tell you the truth, if it would have been just my love for football, or if it would have been just my desire to play for the Buckeyes, or just my desire to sack the Michigan quarterback, if Isaac's here. Is he here? There he is. Michigan's terrible. Guys, if it would have been just those things, I probably would not have been able to get through the experience that I told you about in the assembly, or at least not get through it the way I did. In fact, the only reason I was able to get through that is because there was something more important to me than Ohio State, more important to me than football, the most important thing in my life, which was and is my relationship with God. It's my relationship with Jesus, and that's great. I can see that as soon as I say that, that some of you you look kind of like this. You're like, okay, I like Jesus. No, that's awesome, Joel. Anyway, I go against you, Jesus. I can see some of you like that. But I can also see that, like, a lot of you, as soon as I said the words relationship with Jesus, your eyes, that was classic, your eyes went like this. You're like, oh, no. Here comes that corny Christian talk. I thought Joel was cool, but obviously he was on crack. Anyway, I can see you from here. You're not far away. So here's the thing. If you think it sounds If you think it sounds weird, or you think it sounds corny or whatever, you just say that. I can relate to you because here's the thing, I grew up in a pretty small hometown, and I don't know what it's like here, but when I grew up where I'm from, it seemed like most people went to church. And I went to church because I had to. My parents forced me to go. I didn't really want to go, but I had to. And I would always hear these dudes in church talking about a relationship with God, relationship with Jesus. I don't know about you guys, but I thought they were insane. Because I was like, okay, dude, like, if Jesus is real, then he is in heaven, and I am on earth. And so if he's way up there, and I'm way down here, that is a seriously long-distance relationship. You know? That's what I thought. And so I was like, that can't be real. And so all that relationship with God, relationship with Jesus talk, well, I was like, that just sounds like church talk. That's just religious jargon. That's just church talk. That's not real. That's what I thought. But I had a problem. And my problem was this, that when I was in middle school and high school, I write about this a little bit in my book, the book you're going to get for free. When I was in middle school and high school, I had a summer job mowing lawns. Anybody mow lawns for money? Yeah, it's a good job. So I had this summer job mowing lawns, and I would be riding this riding lawnmower for like hours at a time. Now, I tried to listen to music, but my headphones were total trash. And the mower was just really loud, and so I couldn't even hear the music. And so I just gave up. And so I would sit on this riding lawnmower. It was like really loud for like hours at a time, almost every day in the summer. And so I would it's like I would be alone, like with my thoughts, because I couldn't even listen to anything. And so, and I would think about all sorts of stuff, like I would think about school, I would think about sports, I would think about whatever. But my mind would often wander to those like bigger than life questions. Like, why am I even here on this earth? Like, what is the point of this whole thing? I would wonder about God. I'd be like, is there really a God out there? Like, how do I even know? And the big thing for me, I would think about death a lot of times. I'd be like, hey, I'm gonna die. I know I'm gonna die. Like, what's gonna happen to me when I die? And I don't know if you guys would think about those things, but I would, sitting on that mower. And honestly, I would get pretty uncomfortable when I would think about those things. I would actually get kind of scared because I didn't really feel like I had the answers to those questions. And that changed for me when I was a freshman in high school. Now, I know that I missed you guys earlier, but are there any freshmen here? There you go.
Yep.
Congratulations. Class of 21. 22? 21? 20 years. Okay. Just kidding. 21. All right, so anyway, my freshman year of high school, it all changed, because here's what happened. My church, again, I told you I got drugged to church against my will every week. My church got a new, student pastor, youth pastor, okay? His name was James. And James started up a Wednesday night Bible study at his house, in his living room. And my parents made me go. But it was at this Bible study in James's living room that my life really changed, because really James just explained what it means to have a relationship with Jesus. He explained it in a way that honestly made a lot of sense to me, and it was actually in a way that really changed my life. And so I'll just share with you what he shared with me, and again, this won't take long, but if I can just get your attention for a minute, this really changed my life. He basically said this. He said, Joel, here's the truth. The truth is that you were created by God. We're all created by God. And we were created by God to be in a real relationship with God. That's actually why you were created. To know God, to love God, to be in a relationship with Him. And I was like, okay, that sounds cool. He said, but there's a problem, Joel. And the problem is that you have totally messed it up. I was like, well, thanks a lot, James. But that's pretty much what he said. And he said it's true of all of us. And if we'll just take a moment to look in the mirror, we'll all recognize it's true. The truth is that all of us, even though we were created to know God, we've all actually turned away from God to live for ourselves instead of Him. We've done our own thing. We've gone our own way. We've loved ourselves more than God. I mean, the reason, when you get a team picture or a class photo taken, and you get the full photo, who do you look for first in the photo? You look for yourself, because each and every person actually lives for themselves and not for God. we've rejected God. And because of that, the relationship that we were supposed to have with Him has been destroyed. We're separated from God. Like the reason we feel so empty inside, the reason we feel so alone inside, and we all have that feeling, is because we're separated from our Creator, the one that created us to be with us. And more than that, because we've rejected the God of the universe, who's like a really big deal, like infinitely more important than, I don't know, like the president or whatever, because we've offended an infinitely honorable God, what we deserve is infinite punishment. In fact, we deserve to be apart from God forever. This guy, James, he explained to me what we deserve. Because we've all rejected God, what we deserve is to go to hell. And God's really upset with us because we've rejected Him and rebelled against Him. And I was like, okay. But he continued, he said, but here's the great news. Even though on one hand, God is really upset and justly angry with us, on the other hand, at the same time, God loves us more than we can possibly imagine, loves us so much that about 2,000 years ago, God Himself actually came to earth as a man on a rescue mission to save us from what we deserve. God came to earth as a man in Jesus, and Jesus did what we could never do, all right? Jesus lived a perfect life, but even though He was perfect, He then went and literally died for everything we've done wrong. Even though Jesus was perfect and Jesus was and is God Himself, He went and died literally to pay the penalty that we deserve to pay. And then 3 days later, Jesus defeated death. He rose from the dead, and He proved He's the King of the universe. And this pastor, James, he said to me, he said, Joel, if you would simply give up living for yourself, turn away from yourself, like admit the fact that you are a total wreck inside and you've rebelled against God, and turn back to God, turn to Jesus and ask Jesus to forgive you, ask Him to save you, He will. He'll save you, He'll forgive you. He'll give you the promise of life after death. Not because you deserve it, but because He loves you and He died for you. And I don't know about you guys, like maybe I had heard that 1,000 times before, I don't know. But even though I went to church, like, and I called myself a Christian, up to that point, I thought that like the way you get to heaven is to like earn it. You know, I thought good people go to heaven, bad people go to hell. So do a bunch of good stuff. Try not to kill anybody. You know, like, and then maybe you'll be better than average. I don't know, like, that's what I thought. But then I realized, like, if we're honest with ourselves, like I said, if we'll just look in the mirror, we'll all recognize that none of us are very good. In fact, we're all a total wreck. Like, what if on this screen, we just put, like, on the screen every thought that has gone through your mind, like, over the last couple of days for everyone to read? Like, even just that idea makes me want to throw up right now. You know, like, it's because we're all a wreck inside, but even though we all have messed up and we've rebelled against God, even though we have Jesus died for me, I realized I needed to simply ask Jesus to forgive me. I needed to accept the gift He was offering me. I needed to trust Him. And so I did. I was a freshman in high school, like I said. Guys, honestly, here's what's crazy. When it finally clicked for me, what Jesus had done, even though I didn't deserve it, and that He died for me, and I turned to Him, it wasn't something my church did. It wasn't something my parents did. When I believed, guys, I'm telling you, my life totally changed. There's a passage in the Bible that, as you may know, was written like 2,000 years ago, that Jesus says, to enter the kingdom of God, you must be born again. And guys, I'm telling you, when I was a freshman in high school, I had this experience of really spiritually being born again. And all of a sudden, I found out what it means to have a relationship with Jesus, because all of a sudden, like, I knew Him. Jesus was literally became my best friend, and He changed everything about me. And so you heard my story I shared in the gym about losing my friends, getting booed by the school. And you know what? As tough as that was, and yeah, it wasn't a lot of fun, but during those times when I didn't have a friend in school, I had in my life the best friend anybody could ever have. I had Jesus in my life, and I'm telling you, Jesus was always more than enough. I would not trade Jesus for all the friends, all the whatever in the world. And then I told you I went on to play at Ohio State. I won the national championship game. As you can see that, yep. And guys, you know what? That was cool. I'm now married. I told you my wife is hot. It's true. We have 5 kids to prove that I have a hot wife. That's cool. You're taking that class? Sorry, we're going off topic. Let's bring it back. Now, here's the thing, guys. As great as all those other aspects of my life, guys, here's the truth. Jesus is better than all of that. Jesus is better. In the worst times, Jesus was always enough. In the best times, Jesus was always better. And so, guys, I'll just ask you, and I'll kind of end with this. Let me just challenge you in the way I was challenged, okay? Like, I can see some of you aren't that interested in what I'm talking about. If you're not interested, just sit tight and all this stuff. But if you are, let me just talk to you right now. Just pretend like nobody else is here. Pretend like we're not at some internet store time or whatever. And let me just pretend like it's just me and you. Let me just ask you, like, do you know that God created you for a purpose? Like, the reason you have all those feelings and those longings inside to do something meaningful and purposeful is because you're created by God to know God and to love God, but you recognize that you've messed that up, that you've done your own thing on your own way. Because of that, you're separated from God because you deserve it. But in spite of all that, did you know Jesus died for you? Jesus rose from the dead. And if you turn to Jesus and say, Jesus, please save me, please change me, I trust you, I give my life to you, has your life been changed by a relationship with Jesus? That's my challenge to you. That's what I would at least ask you to consider. And I'd ask you to consider it seriously because I would wonder, what could be more important than thinking through these issues, these larger-than-life, infinitely important issues? And so, in fact, I'm actually really curious about what you think about what I just said. So do me a favor, take out your phone real quick. Take out your phone. Do you have service in this cave? All right, take out your phone, jump on Instagram.
I don't have Instagram. And I'm not stopping the recording.
Thank you. If you're not following me, follow me, and then because I want you to do me a favor, send me a DM and answer this question. There's my handle on the screen, just my name, Joel Penn. Answer this question. What do you think about what I just had to say about Jesus? Or where do you stand on this whole Jesus thing? Has your life been changed by Jesus? Do you want to begin a relationship with Jesus? Do you want to be forgiven? Do you have questions? Do you have doubts? I'm just curious what you think and where you stand, and especially if you have questions, I'd love to maybe even begin a conversation with you. So anyway, just send me a DM and let me know what you think. Let me know where you stand on this whole Jesus thing. And I'm gonna give you 1 minute to send me that. I'm gonna run back there and grab some things, some free things to give away. Can we give away some free things? Is that cool? All right, so send me a message, I'll grab some free stuff, and then I'll be back up to say literally like one more thing.
Oh, I love this. All right, guys, I think that's gonna be about enough for today. This was cool. I'll talk to you some other time. Deuces, broheems.
Justin, you ready?